Okay, that was great. Thanks, Lori. It's cool to hear you reading some stories. I hadn't heard that before. But our next reader is Edward Carey. Edward is the author of the novels Observatory Mansions and Alva and the Irva Twins Who Saved a City, and of the Iremonger Trilogy, all of which he illustrated. His work has been translated into 16 languages. I was saying before, I couldn't even name 16 languages. Born in England, he now finds himself in Austin, Texas. Thank you very much for reading.
Thank you very much indeed, Ed. It's wonderful to be here, and thank you, Malvern Books, so much for having this thing that's becoming an annual event. It's my first time doing it. Okay, so I'm going to read a short story called Portrait of an Unnamed Man, and it's about the people who live down below. One very early morning, after a particularly bad storm, when the air was thick with the smell of rotting photographs, an old man was found in Market Square. His head was wrapped very expertly with bandages. He had had an accident, some sort of tumble. He had fallen very far, all the way down, and he had been left in our Market Square, where we sell all our bones and clothes, skin and meat. A hair collector, out early to gather the most from the storm, she had filled 2 barrows already, found him. She thought he was dead and was going to strip him, but he wasn't dead. He was just hurt and sleeping. They took him to our medicine palace. They fed him the best buttons and battle juice. After a week, he was able to nod and shake his tender head. He even smiled. This had never happened before. Always before, when the heavier sacks like him had come, thumping hard sometimes and waking us from our dreaming, inflicting damage to our trees and homes, blocking drains and causing our waterways to flood and burst. Always those sacks were very still and well behaved. But then suddenly there was an old man looking back at him, and so we asked him, "What is your name?" He searched his mind for who he might be. He could not recall. Had he ever had a name? He thought so, somehow, but he couldn't quite remember it, and it wasn't just his name that was missing. He had no stories of his life before he came to us. "Who am I, please?" he asked, again and again, sometimes shouting, sometimes with tears, sometimes a barely audible mutter. Perhaps it would have been better if someone among us had given him a name right away. Perhaps a hair collector at her work in the streets with all her finery should have called forward then and there louder than the church bells in our deepest well and told us his name is Gurnall, of course. And then we should have called him Gurnall. But she neglected to, and so did everyone else, and the doctor, as he wiggled a tooth out, referred to him as the sack. Or the quick sack, but never was there any proper name. "Why don't I have a name?" he asked the priest, our bishop, in his rubber finery. "You may have one, only it's lost," he said in his great wisdom, and he shaved off one of the old man's eyebrows. We gave him a shed and some money, though he had not a name to himself. He had been asked many times to choose one, but he would not. "No one," he said, his face red with temper, "no one names themselves. Did you know that? You must be idiots. This is a town of idiot people. Why do you all look so odd?" He made strange wailing noises, calling out to his people. We liked to sit by him when he did that, so many of us, but his people never answered him, and he did not sing in the right manner at all. We bought him our songmaster, and the songmaster did help him with good screaming. We did love him, you see. We wanted him to stay with us. We warned him that he would not keep long, not if he didn't take a name. That very soon he would fade away with all the other nameless things. forgotten and vague, and be made of no more than sludge or dust. But he would not heed our warnings, so we had to take action. We put forward a petition. We would name him ourselves. Everyone in the whole town put a name folded into a piece of paper into certain of our communal lavatory boxes, and they were collected up. How we all whispered names then, and slept names, and smelled names, and drank names, and ate names. What shall he be known as? Pattygram, Tompole, Loamy, Glob, Dishkin, Pigney, Earthlam, Wingnut, Sputum, Pogrom, Pillbox, Cutty, Bagsnot, Wormium, Eliberot, Moot, Gut, and names like ours. Names of our people, but he shook his head to all of them. He would take none of our names. Dugnail. No. No, he wouldn't. Are you Pillar, then, we wondered. No. No, certainly not. He was none of us. He wouldn't take a name as if to be Dugnum or Miglip was not good enough for the likes of him. So that he remained without a name, trying all the while to remember so persistently that which could not be recalled. He sat on his own a great deal, and there in his thinking he brooded over his nameless self. One morning after a storm had come to us, after our whole landscape was covered yet again with spent newspapers and drifts of photographs, he formed a plan. He collected the two-dimensional likenesses of people, dead people, peoples whose names and significance had been lost, things tumbled down from the sideways world. He had portraits of women several times over. He seemed to fall in love with one or two of them, and to stroke the two-dimensional faces with his hands. There was head of a boy, young man and dog, shots from photo booths of heads making faces crowned together. He had pictures of people, lots of nameless people, for there is proof of nameless people everywhere. The nameless are huge and growing, and they are the rubbish of our town. How the bins fill with them, how they come to us in the night, drop there by the storms, or by the nightingales, or the sea moles, or the fur fishes, that no matter how we try with traps and nets, with cudgels and thumping bricks, with doormats and polite notices, still they come with all their bits. The difference, of course, with all the other nameless is they are just old likenesses that hang around too long, and all those other pictures, photographs, forget-me-nots that snow upon our roofs, in our drain tunnels and down chimney throats are but things of dead skin, not living, not breathing, not in existence, unlike him, the nameless, the quicksack, our own dear Bildu, who since birth has been one of our greatest lookers. Took a fancy to him. She did her hair so nicely with medals and sausages. And she, of course, it must be remembered, was the first person of all of us to dress herself in fish rinds. And as dog knows any number of suitors, yes, she approached the living sack and stuck her tongue out at him in the most gorgeous of manners. And even dribbled upon him a little. But he would not take her. And he blubbed afterwards, but not with affection. Nor would he look at Glup, who dressed herself in a stiff cloak of drowned puppies, all nobbling though she comes from such a fine family. What would he care for that, he who despised all names? He never went to our graveyards, though we have such nice graveyards, buildings and buildings of them. In time his shed was so full of things, so much dirtiness, that we came to leave him alone and let him talk and talk to so much anonymity. He muttered there, and mooned and mumbled, and sometimes hummed small snippets of half-remembered hymns, and tried to call out for his own forgotten personal people. He tried cataloguing his collected things, giving those old photographs numbers for names, but even he was not convinced by that, for how can an old woman with a sad smile in a black dress go by the name of 217.2? How may you call a little girl in a tricycle 7,909? Indeed, it did not convince. He wouldn't let us clip his nails, though we sent our very best nail clipper to him, Bruegel himself. nor then would he allow a hair collector to come in. Not one. No, he would not pay us back in hair, and he fought when we tried to take some. He closed the hatch of his home and kept inside, growing his smells thicker and thicker until those smells were so great that they smoked out between his underdoor and came into our own long and short, round and pointy noses. And it was as loud a smell as ever there was. And it was delicious. And it made us cry with the melancholy of lost love. Months he stayed inside, until we could abide it no longer, this selfishness of his, and we broke open his shed and let all the things inside out into the dark open, and then what limp and ashy, what dusty and sorrowful tidbits they all were. But nameless, our nameless was there no longer. There was no longer any quick sack to speak of. He had fled us, and we had not seen him go. He had crept away without leave when we weren't looking. He was not there. There was nothing living amongst all that rubbish. Oh, the misery of lostness. We miss him so. And so we went everywhere searching for him and asked about beyond the inky borders of our town such adventures, such explorations as were so new to us and cost some of us our lives. But not naming him, it was hard to say what he was exactly, and we could only guess how long his nails are now and his hair, or what he looked like at all. Only we have the vaguest notion, somewhere in the back halls of our mind, a blurred picture of a little bandaged head. He belongs to us, and we cherish him so. Even now, so many years later, we sometimes dress like him and imitate the manner of his singing, to our babies in their newness, to our ancient people in their closing oldness. If you see him, please send him back. Thank you very much.